Joining us now to discuss President Trump's D.C. crime cleanup efforts is John Lott, the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. John is an economist and world-recognized expert on guns and crime. He also served as the senior advisor for research and statistics in the U.S. Department of Justice under the first Trump administration. First of all, good afternoon to you, John, and hope you're having a great Labor Day holiday. Thank you for joining us. Now, President Trump wrote on social media on Sunday that D.C. is now a crime-free zone, so in just 12 days. Now, D.C. recorded 0 homicides for 13 straight days. In your view, has Trump's efforts, have they had a tangible impact on reducing crime?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Look, I mean, if you compare D.C. to either other cities or to the states in the United States, the homicide rate was off the charts. In 2024, D.C. ranked first among the 25 most populous cities in terms of homicides. It was 28% higher than the next highest city and something like 169% higher than the average for the 25 largest cities. If you compare it to the states, it's like 160% higher homicide rate than the worst state. I mean, Democrats want to make D.C. the 51st state, and it's like 434% higher than for the average for states. So, you know, however you want to measure D.C.'s crime rates were very bad to begin with, and since and this isn't rocket science for fixing it. If you want to reduce crime, you have to make it riskier for criminals to commit crime. D.C. only had about 1,300 patrol officers, and that means you maybe have 400 on duty at any point in time to go and take care of a district of 720,000 people. Trump's effectively doubled the number of boots that you have on the ground with FBI and drug enforcement agents and ATF agents, and as well as about 800 National Guards troops that are there. And we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of arrests. Plus, they're much more aggressive in terms of prosecuting crimes than was true under the Biden administration.
So are we likely to see a lasting impact? Because, I mean, the National Guard troops can't stay there forever, right? What happens when they pull out?
Well, the biggest thing is this 30-day window that they have. The law allows Trump to essentially federalize law enforcement for 30 days. Democrats, Chuck Schumer already said that he has the votes to filibuster successfully any extension of that. But, you know, there'll still be some continued benefits that will be there. I mean, they've arrested all these criminals. They've been taken off the streets. They've removed a lot of criminal illegal aliens from the area. Those people aren't going to be around to be going and committing crimes. So it's unlikely to return quite to the levels that it was before. But look, the D.C. police have been extremely thankful that Trump has been there. Even the mayor has noted how, carjackings have decreased by 87%. These are phenomenal numbers. Huge increase, drops in violent crime, robberies, other types of things have gone down dramatically. So there'll continue to be some. Now, you would hope at some point, even you can get like 7 Democrats to join with the Republicans to have, break the filibuster and continue what's going on here right now. But look, Democrats want to claim Trump is racist with this. The latest data we have for the racial composition of victims from homicide goes up to 2021. 96% of those who are being murdered were Black. And it's not just the direct victims of crime. You have businesses that close. Who do you think works in those stores? D.C. is overwhelmingly a minority city. They're the ones who lose their jobs. They're the ones who lose the stores that they can't shop in. They're the ones who own many of the homes whose values are depressed because of the high crime rate that was there. They're all the ones who are benefiting from this right now, Trump's push. And so I hope people think about this a little bit more before they stop this policy that he's enacted there.
So, John, I want to ask you a bit further. You mentioned statistics a couple times now, and you're very good at that. So, if you remember at the beginning of all this, about 2 weeks ago, officials were citing statistics in D.C. that crime was down even before federal involvement happened, right? What is your view on that point where official data is showing that crime is down?
Well, it's pretty hard to know what the official data is right now for DC, at least before this crackdown. The police union for years has been complaining about how the data has been manipulated. There have been officers who have issued sworn statements saying that things like homicides have been reclassified as accidental deaths. You have aggravated assaults that involve a weapon where they don't include the weapon in the police report, so they get reclassified as a misdemeanor and not counted in either the data that the city puts out or that the FBI has for including it. So, my guess is, and they've been arguing that this manipulation has been increasing over time. So it's very likely, if you believe what the police union has been saying, and they've been saying this for years, not just when Trump has taken over here, that the actual drops in violent crime are even larger than the percentages that have been reported.
What do you think are some of the underlying factors that drive crime in a city like D.C.?
Well, I think it's true across the whole country. This isn't rocket science. If you want to reduce crime, you have to make it riskier for criminals to go and commit crime. That means higher arrest rates, higher conviction rates, longer prison sentences. But it also means letting victims be able to go and defend themselves. That also makes it riskier. And Trump is pretty much dealing with all those. As I mentioned, more boots on the ground to go and do the arrests. You compare the U.S. attorney in D.C. D.C. is very unique, is in charge of prosecuting crimes by adults. During the Biden administration, the U.S. attorney that Biden put in there just didn't believe in prosecuting criminals very much. In 2022, something like 67% of arrests did not result in prosecutions. Even in 2023, it was like 56% of arrests didn't result in prosecutions. Judge Jeanine Pirro is going to be much more aggressive and has been in terms of prosecuting criminals that are there. And also, they're making it a little bit easier for people to defend themselves. Up until recently, it could take 6 months or 8 months for somebody to go through the approval process to get a concealed carry permit. The Trump administration put pressure on D.C. to speed that up. And now, presumably, it looks like they're issuing permits within 2 weeks. That's a dramatic change. I mean, there's still things that have to be done in terms of lowering the costs, particularly for poor people to be able to go and get permits to carry. And they have to get rid of a lot of the gun-free zones that they have there that prevent people from being able to protect themselves in different areas. But it's still a start, and it's still part of the overall process, trying to reduce crime and make it riskier for criminals to commit crime in many different ways that the Trump administration is undergoing.
So I just want to ask you one more thing here, John. We appreciate your time today. What emerging trends on the topic of crime are most concerning or that you are most optimistic about?
Well, I think nationwide, it looks like we may be hitting record lows ever recorded in terms of murder rates in this country. And I think there are multiple things that are involved with that, but surely Trump's very aggressive actions to remove criminal illegal aliens from the United States, I think helps. I mean, one, you're removing criminals who are not going to be committing crimes. But two, even the criminals that you haven't removed know that one way to keep from being deported and caught is to keep off police radar. And so they are keeping their heads down. And one way to do that is not to commit as much crime right now, because the more crime they commit, the more likely that they're going to be picked up by police and thus be turned over to federal agents for ICE. And so I think both in terms of removing criminals and in terms of deterring even the ones that you haven't caught, I think that's had a big beneficial impact. And I don't think, we won't know for a while what the crime data is for this year, but my own guess is that it's going to show a sizable change.
Okay, well, very great insight today. Thank you for joining us on this Labor Day. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the holiday.
Thank you very much. Same to you.